Game begin.
Hello and welcome back to the Spike Calling Podcast. I'm here with our regular co-host, Michael J. Flores, the man who can't stand to just have Stone Rains in his deck.
I mean, I think that I should be introduced as Michael J. Flores, the man who's $20 richer and can't have
fair.
Can't stand to have Stone Rains in his deck. But
I wanted a game 5, but I guess I won
you
both
left.
game ones.
You just left.
Well, we had the next round. Well, we had the next round, and I wanted to chat more than I wanted to play game 5. But I will say, okay. So a little background for the listeners: the age-old question of does Burn or Red Green Oath Ponza win the matchup has been cautiously settled. Mike and I played 2 game ones, play and draw.
It's settled by me for years, but sure. Sure. I guess you wanted to reopen it.
Well, it's been settled. You know, it's been settled in the arena of money matches, which is probably the only arena that matters.
Well, it's settled now.
But we played 2 game ones, play draw, and I won both with the Oath Ponza deck, specifically the Oath Ponza stack deck, but Smokestack did not make an appearance. I just had 15 Terravores. And then we played 2 game 2s, play draw, and Mike won both of those on the back of Price of Progress. And I would say that the score is 2-2. But I would also say that game 2s have like a 1.25 weighting or something. Like game 2s just matter more, right? If you win 2 game 2s,
there's more of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to say that the caveat was that my deck doesn't contain Zurin Orb, and the opposing Burn deck that you were playing was like the Zero Mishra's Factory Ball Lightning deck, in addition to the Price of Progress in the sideboard. And I think that all of those have a very positive effect on Burn's outcomes, right? Because the more wastelandable lands,
like Wasteland gets better if you're playing against some dopey deck with Mishra's Factory, right?
Yeah. Well, and Ball Lightning beats Oath of Druids as well.
Yeah,
assuming you can get to 3 or 4 mana.
Just for some context, some people exploited this already, where I was just like, oh, I guess I'll play Lanny's stupid Smokestack deck, which I did. I was like,
to a winning record, I might add. A rock winning record of 2-1, but it's still a winning record.
I mean, I was 1 game off of the trophy, to be fair, but
you can't know. You lost in round 2. You're only allowed to say I'm 1 game off the trophy if you lose game 3 when you're 2-0.
So I look over, and to my left is like SWB playing a mono blue deck with main deck Misdirection. I'm like, come on, dude. Were you just waiting for the 2-0 match again? Right? This is an insurmountable matchup, right?
It's the only way that he can get. No, he's playing Stasis, actually.
With main deck Misdirection?
Loose action, baby.
Anyway, so you played against
Rich Busey. It cost him. He also finished 2-1, you know?
Yeah, so you played against Rich Busey on Mono Red Burn, and lost to him in the round 1. You were playing Gat, right? Were you playing your Meddling Mage Gat? I was watching your
I was playing I was playing same 75 as the video just went up on YouTube. Basically, Meddling Mage back in, too much Enchantress and Replenish online, beat Enchantress and Replenish, lost to White Weenie. And then so like the only difference is like it's got Meddling Mages, it has like a less gush, no foil.
You sacrifice so much power. I mean, like I was like in for your perfect Gat deck, like, and I'm also, it's weird because one of the things I've always thought as a defining card for Gat was Meddling Mage, but like just watching you play, like watching the cards, you've given up so much power, right? Your deck is like sub a deck, I think now, like versus I think the perfect Gat deck. I was like, oh, I could get behind this. Like you're just like making a 2-2 against a Grim Lavamancer. How many games in a row could you do that before you're like, I was right the first time?
Won that match, by the way. So
you lost to Rich.
No, sorry, I won the match. I won the match online, and then against Rich, I actually just punted. So I don't want to get too into it, but basically,
I watched the match online. Your opponent did not play a 3rd land. I mean, like that wasn't part of your narrative. Like, oh, I can't believe I won this game.
I mean, I don't know. I like my broad stroke is just that like I'm just like beating Burn. I would say like I'm probably like over 70% against Burn. But against Rich, I actually just punted game 3. I had a deterministic line, and I went for a line that if I like drew Hydroblast, I would win. But to scroll back, I don't know at what point you followed, but like you walked up. I
was in the middle of like match 1 or match 2 when you
walked up.
If I wanted to do a cast
in the last turn. So no, I'm talking about my Rich match. So against Rich BC, basically, I portented him, and I knew that his top card was Mark Fanatic and Jackal Pup, and I have like 2 Psychotog, or I have a Psychotog in play, and he has 2 Grim Lawmancers. So anyways, I just made a wrong decision icing, and I would have won the game.
I did see that. You were at 7 life, I think.
I just forgot that
you're dead to math.
I forgot that. Yeah, I put myself dead on board. I forgot that Grim Lavamancer can attack for 1. I was just
Grim Lavamancers. He has 2 Grim Lavamancers and a Barbarian Ring. But you're like, oh, he only has 5 cards in his graveyard, right? But all he has to do is chump block with the Grim Lavamancer, and you can't win the game. Like that.
Yeah, well, no. So basically, he. I mean, I hate just recounting games, but it is an interesting scenario where he has access to 6 damage. If he does everything, he has access to 6 damage, which is he didn't have 5 cards yet in graveyard. He had 3 cards in graveyard, 2 Grim Lavamancers in play, and a Seal of Fire in play. So once he activates the Seal of Fire, he has 4 cards in graveyard, and then he has 2 Grim Lavamancers. And so then that deals 6 damage. I'm at 7, right? And I'm like, and I know the top card of his library is Jackal Pup. So I'm like, he actually can never find the last point of damage. Except for I forgot that Grim Lavamancer can attack, right? Yeah, so I have ice. And
because you only had island in play.
Exactly. So I had ice, and he has to block because my Psychotog is lethal. So I needed to attack and then ice the other Grim Lavamancer to stop it from attacking. And then I would be able to attack into the Jackal Pup. And then, I mean, this goes insane. So then I have to attack into the Jackal Pup. I have to pump so that it's lethal through the Jackal Pup. And then Rich has to Seal of Fire his Jackal Pup to survive, to prevent the trigger from happening, which gains me 2 life. And also, the top card of my deck was Swords to Plowshares, so I also would have just gained 13 that turn. I would have lost my Psychotog.
Magic is hard.
Yeah, magic is hard. Anyways, I forgot the Grim Lavamancer could attack, so I put myself dead on board looking for 1 Hydroblast, like drawing 1 card to draw 1 Hydroblast, which was not a good idea. But in any case,
you and I played some game 1s with the Ponza deck versus Red. You won both of them. I think like I was definitely on like the bad draws for Red. I think I mulliganed a lot. I was
on the bad draws for Oath Ponza. I drew
all of the draws are the bad draws.
I drew 4. No. I can obviously draw Sphere of Resistance into Sphere of Resistance into like triple Stone Rain. You'd never win that game.
So I mean, but I drew like I mulliganed into 5 or whatever, and then just drew all the 3 casting cards.
Let's just zoom out really. Let's just zoom out and talk in broad strokes. Win conditions for the Oath Ponza deck is Mana Screw and Oath Trigger, right?
Or you could just put a Terravore in play, and like it could be a 4/4, and it's hard to deal with.
I mean, in the Terravore universes, you have to like not have Grim Lavamancer to clean up your own graveyard, and I have to like whatever. But like, you are correct. Like there is in the Mana Screw tree, in the Mana Screw game tree, there is Mana Screw for a little bit, and then put a 5/5 Terravore into play.
I would actually contrast it a different way, which is it's just like a length of time, which is that if the game goes a certain length of time, the likelihood of the Terravore deck winning, especially if you're playing with Smokestack, is extraordinarily high, right? Because in many games, the red decks have inevitability because of the reach and the ability to top deck a burn card and kill you. But if they have no resources in play,
right,
then that's not available anymore.
This is a great analogy for the Oath Ponza deck in general, because many decks treat it as a given that over the course of the game they're going to like have lands in play, and cards like Smokestack and of course Armageddon change that dynamic. And so red, of course, depends on that, which is just like I can just play burn spells off the top of my deck and eventually kill you. And yeah, if you cut out their lands from under them, which is why Grotog brings in Armageddon, and which is why Oath Ponza can plausibly win the matchup and also win like I would say that before Smokestack gets added to the Oath Ponza deck, it is less likely to win the longest games because red's just going to flood out and eventually find the last points of damage. You have no way to gain life, right? At least the red-green version. You can't like plowshares your own Terravore.
So like one of the, the game ones we played, I just rolled the dice instead of burning my own Jackal Pup. I just played another Jackal Pup and like another creature, right? And then let you Oath trigger. But then you like made a 15/15 Terravore and then cast a Terravore out of your hand. Like now I'm like basically dead, right? Versus if you only have one Terravore.
And you did have outs to, because you had double Fire Blast in hand, so you had outs to top deck Incinerate, Shock, Fire Incinerate.
I believe I win the game on Lightning Bolt or Incinerate or a Shock variant. Like
2 or 3 damage.
Yeah. So, but
your deck happened to have Goblin Patrol in it.
Yeah. So anyway, and then you're just like, well, I don't even know how the red deck could get. So you win 2 games, right? You win 2 game ones, and then I'm like, I don't know, Landon. It seems like a terrible matchup to me. And you're just, I just won both of them. How do you think this deck even gets better after sideboarding, right? Like the red deck. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Your deck doesn't have Zuran Orb. And in my head, like this is a shortcut for. I've played this matchup a lot of times from the red deck side, and I've lost it once. I did lose it at LobsterCon. When I was if I'd won
when
that
you were
match,
alive for top 8, yeah.
Well, no, if I'd won that match, I was just going to double draw into the top 8, like that. So instead, I won my next couple of matches and then lost in the last round. But I would have double drawn in the top 8 at that point. I don't know. Maybe there was no double draws that year. It doesn't matter.
That year was no double draws, but it was a very critical.
I was very. It was a
very important time to win a match. You were close to the money, that's for sure.
I think I think N-3 cards in my deck win the game. The only thing I can draw that doesn't win the game is Jackal Pup, and that's what I drew. Because if I draw a land, I can cast my Incinerate and kill him. You can't draw Jackal Pup. You can't draw any 2/1 goblins. You can't draw Curse Scroll, Vortex Ball, Lightning. No. In the game that I was playing.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Well, I think the only cards I could draw is anyway. Doesn't matter.
No, the important part is like zooming out. Win cons for Oath Ponza, trigger Oath, Mana Screw. Win cons for burn is like if those 2 things don't happen, you probably win. And then also post sideboard, draw Price of Progress.
Yeah. No. So like I think of
and not be mana screwed.
Like I think about it a different way, right? So when I lost my Goblins match in the league top 8 last week, my Goblins opponent's like trying to analyze it from his side, and
this Goblins match is the Dreadnought versus Goblins match to catch people.
Right. So and I'm like, no, just don't worry about it. None of it matters. The onus is on me to win, right? Like I have all the initiative. I have the most powerful thing. If I continue with the onus is on me to win or I don't, and like. The only thing that you can really do is kill me faster or remove my Dreadnought, right? Like there's no other real analysis here, right? So I think that the Oath Ponza versus Burn matchup is just a timeline thing, right? Like if the game has gone like 7 turns for sake of argument, something bad had to happen to the Burn deck in order for it to have gone 7 turns. Like an uncontested Burn deck against an Oath Ponza deck in pre-modern ends in 4 turns. Like there's just not like the cards in the Oath Ponza deck are wholly uninteresting to a burn player, right? So if it's gone 7 turns, something catastrophic has happened. You blow up all my lands, you put down an oath, which prevents me from playing any of the cards in my hand. There's a sphere of resistance that's making it so that I can't cast a bunch of spells.
Yeah, you just named 16 cards in my deck. No.
Okay. No. One Thermal Karst is not beating me. Let's
drawing a number. Yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying, and
your deck is 32 mana sources. By the way,
I think
you could just draw those.
Yeah. I mean, well, if I, once again, if I line up a wasteland, or if port happens, or if like the man lands sometimes at least force you to like use a burn spell in case they like try to block the Mishra's Factory, right? But no, like I like again, I think post sideboard the win cons remain trigger Oath and or Mana Screw, and I wanted to talk about the Mana Screw portion because I did want to, like, I know that I've been saying that Smokestack is the answer, and I did want to say that the moment the Oath Ponza deck wins the game typically is the turn that your opponent misses a land drop, right? And this is like a thing that is true for the Smokestack and non-Smokestack versions. The Smokestack version, the important part is when your opponent misses a land drop, you play Smokestack, and then that turn that they missed is the turn that you get to add the suit counter. And then also you can see this illustrated in the Grotog and or Dreadnought versus Oath Ponza matchup, where if like the Dreadnought and Grotog decks, despite being land light, can typically, not always, but typically ensure that they hit every single land drop, even though it's like 17 lands. So you just change what your cantrips do, right? Your cantrips used to look for Dreadnoughts and Stifles. Now they just look for Island, right? And then that's how things run out for the game. But the moment that your opponent misses a land drop for the Oath Ponza deck generally spells death for this and for them. And I think that's especially true in the burn deck, because the burn deck will often miss its third or fourth land drop.
I find this to be a gross oversimplification, but I will tell you this. I won game 1 against Rich in Lanny versus Mike game 1's fashion. I, in fact, put a second soot counter on my Smokestack, knowing that I was going to be down in cards, right? So Rich had 3 or 4 mountains in play at this point and no cards in hand, right? So I'm basically dead, right? So
you're at some single digit life total.
I'm at a single digit life total. I don't think I'm dead to a shock, but I'm dead to a lot. Okay. And so I put 2 counters on my Smokestack, a second counter on my Smokestack, just so that if he's in a spot where he draws Fire Blast, he can't cast it.
Yeah, right? You're let's just start over. Let's start over. Let's start over. You're at 20. I'm at 6.
It's okay. I'm gonna go down. I think I played a second Sylvan. I might have even invested a life point to play a second Sylvan library that I was just gonna sacrifice to the Smokestack.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. So, and then he just conceded when he had no permanents in play. Right. But obviously, the game 1 configuration where you have 8 Stone Rains, 3 Smokestack, 4 Sphere of Resistance is different than the sideboarded games, right? So I sideboarded in similar fashion all 3 of my matches last night, but I played against Red Green Aggro, Mono Red, and Moneyball Black in the 3 matches. Anyway, long story short, Rich got me in the sideboarded games, and I told you I thought that the sideboarded games were hopeless. He drew no fewer than 1 Price of Progress and 1 Fire Blast in a sideboard game, and I think he drew 3 to 4 in each of them. And I felt like there was nothing I could do, because my primary source of mana control in sideboarded games is Sphere of Resistance, right? So I sided out the majority of my Stone Rains and left in Sphere of Resistance.
We did a whole podcast about how you cite out all of your Sylvan libraries against Bird, and then you just didn't do it.
No, I left some Sylvan libraries in because they're better than
3 Sylvan libraries. They're not better than Stone Rain. Sylvan library is not better than Stone Rain, because Sylvan library doesn't generate a card. Sylvan library is just a Mox Diamond. But it doesn't matter.
I wasn't locked under Sylvan library or anything. I told you how the games went. He just played 3 guys. I triggered open,
but this is about zooming out, right? Strategically, the 2 ways you win are Mana Screw and trigger Oath of Druids / put a Terror onto the battlefield one way or another. Sylvan Library contributes far, far less to that plan than an additional Stone Rain. I have a interesting follow-up, zooming even further out, is I think that the ultimate tension that's happening in this deck that I don't really know exactly how I want to get around, but it also really, really comes down to Karplusan Forest being kind of garbage, right? Because this deck spends all of its green.
It's garbage.
It has to tap Karplusan Forest in an average game. If you draw it in the early game, is going to deal 5 damage to you, because every single one, you play 12 colorless lands, and 2, every single turn your mana requirement is G G G G G.
How bad is it to tap your? Have you ever? I'm asking if you ever done this. Okay, obviously, No.
Tapped a
Carplusan Forest for a wild growth on turn 1, and then gotten Wastelanded or ported immediately afterwards. Has that ever happened to you?
Well, me never, because me never, because 1, I haven't played the deck enough, but 2, like, my goal is to never put wild growth on a Carplusan Forest, which
you
leads
put
me
it
to
against me in one of our fun games.
Well, I knew that you were playing Burn, so I could do it, right?
And then
it's like when you were playing against Moneyball, you like fanned out your opening hand. You're like, this sucks, because your hand was like Wild Growth, Treetop, Port, Carplusan Forest, and you're playing against like a known Wasteland deck, and I was just like, yeah, this hand sucks. But guess what? You drew 3 street basic land, like you drew like mountain wooded foothills, and I was just like, ooh, this Wild Growth is awesome now.
Okay, so.
And then he Cabal therapied the wild growth. And I was like, wait, that's not supposed to happen.
This is okay. So here's the thing. I think that this deck, in its current implementation with Smokestack, is in many ways exemplifies a Lanny deck, which is like, you did something innovative, it allows you to feel clever.
So I will say it in a more charitable way to me. This deck exists because it's a hater deck. It exists because, like, there's 2 reasons it exists. One reason was that I am very, very upset about the Gemstone Mine version of Terra Oath. Like, I just like I can't with the Gemstone Mine, and I'll explain this in like very basic terms, and maybe you can look for a counterpoint to this, but I cannot fathom the counterpoint to this, because Gemstone Mine is not a land. It is 3 Lotus Petals, and you cannot sacrifice a Lotus Petal to activate Rishadan Port, Mistress Factory. Barely, like, play a card.
Makes your Terravore +1/+1 at some point.
Is that the counterpoint?
I strongly believe, and I've believed this since I top $4 to $1,000 tournament with like the first version of Oath Peluche. Okay, this strategy is embarrassing. It is incredibly bad, and you basically only win in 2 ways. One of them is your opponent waltzes into Oath, and there are some decks that can't not waltz into Oath. Like, Goblins has a hard time not waltzing into Oath, and Elves just can't not waltz into Oath, right? So you could just beat some pretty good decks because they're not good against Oath, okay? That's one thing. But I've just never seen the deck win an ethical game of Magic. Like, when I lost my
the point.
No. An ethical game of Magic.
It's not an ethical deck. Okay, I love that you're saying this, because this is why Smokestack is in there. Because
no. Because I like the Smokestack. Smokestack locked 2 people last night. I felt clever doing that. When I put the second soup counter on, I'm like, oh, I broke the basic heuristic, and it's right. Okay, like, I'm very clever. But like, when I lost my match on camera at LobsterCon, I drew 3 extra cards and failed to find a 3rd land. Right? Like, if I just found a 3rd land, I would have won on the spot. Like, there's no
right. But Mike, that is
But I drew 3 extra cards first.
No, but that is a good thing to be doing in Magic, right? Because imagine your opponent is playing a deck with between 17 and 24 lands, right?
Yeah.
That deck
absolutely not.
That deck represents a bell curve of the plausible amount of lands that they're going to draw. And everybody tunes their deck to function on the expectation that they're going to hit somewhere in the middle of the bell curve, right? So when you design your burn deck, you're like, I kind of want 2 lands in my opener. When you design your Dreadnought deck, you're like, I kind of want 2 lands in my opener. When you design your Landstill deck, you're like, I kind of want 5 lands in my opener, right? And you curate this bell curve, which is like a statistical probability of outcomes. And when you face against the Oath Ponza deck, it pulls that bell curve aggressively down to a portion of the world where you cannot exist, right? All of a sudden, your 2-land opener lost you the game. All of a sudden, you can barely function on a 4-land opener. And all of a sudden, when you pick up a hand, you're like, this has 6 lands in here against Oath Ponza. You're like, oh my God, I hit the lottery. And that's what you mean by unethical, because being mana screwed is an unethical way to lose a game of Magic.
Pause for
Oath Ponza wins every game of Magic on mana screw.
Pause for a second. If my opponent is not going to hit their 3rd land drop, Do you think that I'm going to win more or fewer games on average with Oath Ponza in the universe where my opponent doesn't hit their third land drop than I am with Dreadnought?
So I'll answer that question in the sense that if your opponent doesn't hit their third land drop, like you might still lose with Dreadnought, right? Their hand could just be like double plowshares, right? But they will never win if you have a Sphere of Resistance play, or if you just Stone Rain one of their lands, or if you port them out, right? Like there's two things that are happening here. One is that eventually they'll find the third or fourth land, and what's going to happen when that happens, right? And
I mean, that is true for Oath Ponza because it doesn't have much of a clock, but Dreadnought, that doesn't happen. If you don't hit your third land drop and I have a daze, I just kill you.
That's correct, but that is reliant on the Dreadnought deck crossing a slightly higher bar. Like obviously the Dreadnought deck is like stupid, consistent, like whatever. But you're also just isolating the point of the curve where it's two lands, right?
Because what the Oath Ponza, I'm saying to you, right? Like you're saying, under these conditions, the Oath Ponza deck is massively favored, right? That's a thing that you're saying, and I would agree with that. All I'm saying is, are you confident that they're more massively favored under these conditions than Dreadnought or my red deck? Because nobody's beating me with the red deck if they don't have a third land. Unless they're Dreadnought.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if it was, I mean, what are the decks that want to have two lands in play, right? It's just like Burn, Grow, Dreadnought, like, because we're basically in decks that contain like 21 or fewer lands.
I mean, oh my god, this is going into a different podcast. That's honestly probably more interesting than just. Oh yeah,
let me finish this. You have to respect the entirety of the curve, right? So, your deck might be happy when it draws 3 lands and misses the 4th land drop. Oath Ponza punishes that as well, right? So now, if you're playing Dreadnought against somebody that has 3 lands, they're a little bit scarier, right? Because maybe they have plowshares, or maybe they have like Melee Mage on turn 2 plowshares. What's that?
You pay for days, right? Like,
once you can start paying for days.
Play days is sometimes you have to be able to counter a Meddling Mage on
and I would like to point out that you're like, oh, it's so good for Dreadnought, like because they have days. I'm like, days is just a land destruction spell. Like you're just saying, like, oh, is days or Sphere of Resistance better if your opponent only has 2 lands? And I'm like, they're the same card.
Okay, Sphere of Resistance is super gas. I have never said a bad thing about Sphere of Resistance in my life. So the thing that I don't like about this deck is it has, okay, I will just reiterate my baseline point. Vindicate is not good enough on rate.
You just don't like Stone Rain. Just say you don't like Stone Rain.
Vindicate is not good enough on rate that I would play it. It is not a good card. The format is full of cards that are way better on rate than Vindicate. I don't want to play Vindicate. You want to play 8 copies of a Vindicate that can't target creatures.
Right, but I mean, it's the deck strategy, right? Like Seal of Fire is like not actually a good card. Like it's only a good card if your opponent is at 2 life or they have a 2/2. The rest of the time, it's a horrible card, right?
It's good on rate. You just
it's good on
harmony. There's a harmony.
It's good on rate because every single other card in your deck is a burn spell that deals damage. Stone Rain is a good card in a deck where every single other card in the deck is a burn spell that destroys a land. It's literally a burn deck. I don't understand why it's so hard for you to understand.
One of these is a burn deck with all 1 casting cost cards.
This is just a burn deck.
One of these is a burn deck with 3 casting costs. Come on, man.
Yeah, anyway. I mean it's a burn deck, but you can tap your other burn spells to cast more burn spells, right?
All right, obviously the deck is viable.
Like, if you can't be like, oh, well, fundamentally Stone Raid is a bad card. It's like, this is just a deck built around Stone Raid. There's a lot of fundamentally bad cards. Fundamentally, Phyrexian Dreadnought is a bad card. Where am I going to find 12 power and creatures to sacrifice my Dreadnought? It's like, oh, well, actually, there's other cards in my deck that make Dreadnought good, right? Like, even Vindicate is like a very good example of this because you are right. Like, I've never felt like I'm like getting away with something by casting Vindicate, right? Because Vindicate doesn't have like some sort of synergy. You don't
like Lava Dart. Lava Dart is just Vindicate for 1 or sometimes 0 mana. So good.
Sacrificing the mountain is not good. And also, I I will point out that I'm just right about Lava Dart because nobody plays it anymore.
I will point out that in the pre-modern Super Series, you quote unquote killed me, but I had a Lava Dart in my graveyard and I killed you instead.
Like Lava Dart, it's simple. Nobody plays Lava Dart anymore because they realized it sucked. And I was right. I was 2 years ahead of my time, but I
still have Lava Dart in all my red decks. Yeah, I don't play red a lot anymore, though.
Yeah, probably because you're forced to play Lava Dart, right?
No, it's because you told me that I should just be a grown up and play the good decks, and so I just been playing Dreadnought. People get mad at me now. I mean,
you should be a grown up, and you should you should get back in the. I need to give you more credit for playing Brain Freeze main Back to Basics Dreadnought because you actually for like the first time in a long time you actually like did something. Right. And like, I appreciate that your world right now is just like taking 75s that somebody else did and like trying it out. And there's a lot of people that do that. But pre-modern, and this segues into my next topic, pre-modern needs like brewers and breakers. Right. Don't talk to me like, oh, the Lanny thing is to like feel like you're clever, because the Lanny thing is to figure out an angle that is going to make the metagame better. Because if we exist in a metagame where like, oh, we've got this Oath Ponza deck, it can never beat Replenish, like that's when the metagame becomes stale, because like these things become settled law. And
why can't the Oath Ponza deck not beat Replenish? I played that matchup a bazillion times with the SWB. I thought I had Oath Ponza as the advantage. I lost a bunch of games where I had second turn Sabos Web, by the way, from the Replenish.
Yeah, I'm just.
I mean, people can say a lot of things, right? Like, I think people say ridiculous stuff that isn't true all the time.
I mean, what ended up happening was that I don't know if you were there while we were doing this, but at the LobsterCon top 8, Brian wins his first match against Elves with his Replenish deck, right? And I'm like, who's he up next against? And Brian's up against Claire. And I was like, who's got an Oath Ponza deck? Luis has an Oath Ponza deck. So we pull Luis's Oath Ponza deck out, and we immediately start testing Brian's semifinal matchup, right?
Brian has Mana Leak in his deck, right? Not Sabos Web?
No, he has Middling Mage, and he has 2 Sabos Web in the sideboard.
Oh. Not Brian Sue. Brian. I
did not look for an Oath Ponza deck to help Brian Sue test this.
I was confused because in my universe right now, well, first of all, they're both named Brian, both play Replenish. One of them won the tournament, right? So I didn't realize you meant our
Brian. Right. So Brian with a Y, Brian Galata, New York City, Brian, and we go like, well, okay, let's play this. Let's test this matchup, see if there's anything different happening with Claire's adjustments, right? Because Claire's going to play Meddling Mage
in sideboard, right?
Yeah. Well, after sideboarding, Claire's going to have Meddling Mage, like Aura of Silence and all this stuff, and so we just start jamming games, right? We jam as many games as we can until Jay comes down and says, "Lanny, can you do commentary for the finals?" And I was like, "It'd be my honor." Anyways, so we play a bunch, and basically, Brian doesn't look good in game 1, and he looks like a lot better in game 2, and then Brian plays against Claire in the semifinal, and he loses game 1, and then he wins game 2 and 3. And you're right. You're right. Like, I do generally agree with you that, like, if you get like Wasteland, Port, Sphere of Resistance, Stone Rain, it's like pretty good for the Oath Ponza player. And also, the presence of Gemstone Mine in Claire's deck made it so that she couldn't push as much damage with her manlands. And also, she only had 2 Sylvan Library, which is like the absolute key to the matchup, right? Like, because it just
pay all the life, right?
Exactly. It keeps you
no pressure.
It keeps you completely gassed. So yes, I don't disagree, right? Like I actually, going all the way as far back as LobsterCon 2024, where I ended up playing Grotog because I thought that the metagame was Replenish and Oath Ponza.
Do you have a different reason for why you play Grotog each year? So like, this year I played Grotog because I liked it.
No.
Year I played Grotog.
Don't expose me. I thought we're turning the podcast off. I can't let everyone know this.
This year I played Grotog. Get this, guys.
I'm not like this.
I was really into Mox Diamond. And this year I played Grotok because I was really not into box diamond.
I'm not addicted to my pet deck. You are, okay? I have only ever scientifically correctly played Grotok, and everyone else only plays their pet deck.
I played one of the things LobsterCon once, and I was a game out of top 8.
one of my testings was I booted up Cockatrice, and I played both sides of the Smokestack Oath Ponza deck against Replenish. And I was like playing, and I was just like, oh, Replenish still wins. I was like, it's really hard to get the Smokestack on the battlefield and tick it up because like they have to miss a land drop for it to happen, right? It
just depends. Their free slot configuration matters so much in this matchup specifically because like Meddling Mage is terrible. It might just trigger Oath, right? It's just not a good card. And there's no cards that are strategic to the Oath Ponza side that you would ever want to name anyway. Like what? I mean, you name Thermokarst? Come on, man.
Okay.
That's a joke.
I have two things in Replenish's favor. Again, like I think that the win condition of Mana Screw the Replenish player remains true. I think that Smokestack helps that plan. I think that on the flip side, one, Replenish has been cheating down on the number of lands. I believe that Gulata played 25. I don't remember how many Sue played. I think that you should play 26 and a half, and I would lean on the 27 side of that. But on the Replenish side, you have Frantic Search to nullify Port, and you have Ancient Tomb, and you only ever need 4 mana one time at any point in the game to win, right?
Yeah.
So the Oath Ponza deck is just like, well, if you happen to draw 3 lands in a row, I guess I lose. And the only way for them to close that
down,
and the only way to close that window is to attack with Treetop Village, right? And guess what? Treetop Village dies to Swords of Plowshares. And the only way to keep them from ever hitting 4 mana is Sylvan Library, Smokestack. And so I respect your testing against SWB because I do think that it's not like Replenish is like 80%. Like it's not like it's, you know, it's not like Replenish against Enchantress, right?
Oath Ponza as a favorite. I don't think I would put it at 80% either, but I lost many games where I played a second turn Sabo's Web, which I thought was like impossible, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So, but he also played cards like Naturalize, which allowed him to remove my Sabo's Web from the battlefield and untap his Treetop Village. But, you know, I know you're not into Naturalize.
Well, I board in Naturalize against Replenish, if you believe me. And I would rather have a Naturalize in game 1, I would rather have a Smokestack in game 1, even if my opponent has Sabo's Web. Like, that's how confident I am in Smokestack.
Well, at some point, the Smokestack eats the Sabo's Web, right, for free.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm putting free
typically immediately. Yeah.
Right. So, but it unlocks however many non-basic. Here's the other thing. You have like 20 lands that get locked down by various hateful things, right?
16. 4 of them are Wasteland. So
yeah. So anyway, whatever the free slot is in the Replenish deck matters a lot because Meddling Mage is quite bad. And Mana Leak is pretty good.
Meddling Mage bad, Mana Leak solid, Abeyance okay.
And Sabo's Web incredible.
Sabo's Web incredible. But Sabo's Web is the most inbred card to be playing in the main deck of Replenish.
But
right?
it also gets you like the 26 and a half land. Right? If you're a 25 land deck with 3 Sabo's Web, you're basically a 26 and a half land deck.
Mike, do you think that if you play a Mana Leak on turn 2 on your opponent's turn 2 spell, do you think that nets out to drawing a card or not?
I do not.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting perspective, right? Because
so I have thought about this a lot because I played a lot of Standard for the last 2 or 3 years, as you know, qualified for some regional championships, and I there was a time where I fancied myself interested in playing Pro Magic instead of just playing Pauper and Pre-Modern, which is what I currently am interested in doing. But the card No More Lies has been legal in Standard for like 2 years or something, which is like basically blue-white Mana Leak, right? I would tell you that if I were on the play and I had No More Lies in my opening hand, I'll win 100, maybe not 100%. I win probably like 89% of games that I'm on the play and I just have one copy in my hand. So like, irrespective of matchup, if I cast it on turn 2, I win the game. I don't know why that confidence does not translate to pre-modern in the Card Mana League.
Yeah, because none of the spells do anything. Just like your best spell in turn 2 is a Wild Mongrel. Like, or a Sabo's Web.
Like it's standard, like whatever my opponent does, if I mana leak it, boom, got the game, right?
I mean, quick zoom out. Is 2 the worst converted mana cost in pre-modern?
No, there's so many. All the insane cards are casting cost 2. What are you talking about? Every insane card is casting cost 2.
Lay it on me.
Oath of Druids, Survival of the Fittest, Sphere of Resistance, Sylvan Library.
You've named 5 green cards. Okay. Addendum. What
counter
2 is the worst? 2 is the worst mana cost.
Accumulated knowledge.
AK sucks.
I love AK. Although
AK is so bad though. AK doesn't cost 2. It costs like 100.
Okay, wait. Let me just actually want to zoom back out and replenish for a second. Don't play Meddling Mage main deck. I know Lanny says that it's inbred. I think you should play Sabo's Web because it gets you the extra land.
I think you should play Abeyance. Abeyance is
I'm fine with Abeyance.
Abeyance is better than Sabo's Web.
The thing that I'm annoyed by is the Meddling Mages in Replenish or main deck. So I just talked to like Brian and Lan. I'm like, why do you have the Meddling Mages?
They just did it because open deck lists.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's like, oh, it's good against Dreadnought. I'm like, it's not good enough. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I literally had 100% win rate on the weekend against Replenish decks, including game ones, right? And I think I played it like 7 times between the 2 tournaments. I won every game against Replenish. I don't think I lost a single game on the weekend.
It's like very, very, very good to have one main deck copy of Brain Freeze against a Replenish deck that has like just Meddling Mage.
I mean, I literally won. I don't think I ever won with a Dreadnought, and I think I sided my Dreadnoughts out in all the sideboarded games. But like, I must have comboed somebody out with the Dreadnought on turn 2 at one point. But I literally won every game. But it was annoying that I sometimes had to daze a Meddling Mage on turn 2, not because the Meddling Mage was going to name Dreadnought, but because it might kill me before.
Yeah, because it's a 2/2.
Yeah, it's like literally I would have had to daze a Grizzly Bear in the same situation. Right? Like that was the entire crux of the. Actually, that's not true because if it was just a Grizzly Bear, I would just combo them off with my Dreadnought, right? But it's functionally a similar situation. Just play a Brain Freeze and you never lose to these Yahoos. But anyway, just don't do it. It's annoying, but doesn't actually make you win the game.
Yeah, I also agree. I think that the tech card should be Abeyance. I think Abeyance covers.
Abeyance.
Yeah, I mean, Abeyance
covers Brain Freeze.
It covers Brain Freeze. It covers a Brain Freeze in the sense that Abeyance will make it possible for you to win the game, right?
It depends on how bad your opponent is or how unexpected it is, but it could do something. That is possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing is that, Abeyance can win from nothing, right? They just need attunement on the battlefield, and then sometimes not even, right? And like they could go Abeyance. They could they could just be like Abeyance Decree of Silence, and then that's 10 mana, but it's a long game.
Abeyance is also the most superior card in the mirror match, right? So you could start with an Abeyance and then crack your opponent's battlefield.
That is a weird thing. I don't really want to go too into the Replenish Mirror because like I've thought about it and I've seen it go a number of like ways that are like, I don't know, a little confusing to me. Because like it seems that it is just a time walk in the Replenish Mirror more often than it is a like break the parallax situation.
It is possibly a time walk, right? Although it is weird because it doesn't stop your opponent from.
It doesn't stop them from just casting an attunement.
Yeah. So, or just hard casting a Decree of Silence. It doesn't stop that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll put a Seal of Cleansing into play. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you just cast it and it resolves, or you like burn through their Decree in the short. Actually, you can't do this against certain battlefields, right? But
yeah,
there are some battlefields where you just resolve an abeyance and you can remove your opponent's entire battlefield.
yeah, but that's if and
that
only
is not possible without casting the abeyance first.
But that's if and only if you're in the stalemate spot, and like according to Brian, and also in accordance with, I've actually never seen it happen that both replenished players have a wave and an opal. It seems much more often one player just gets Decree of Silence into play and wins than what both players have wave, and then one player uses their abeyance to win.
Brian came up to me and talked to me about I played against the mirror match again, and I understood the wave matchup better than he did, and this was the result. But I would concur. The thing that I'd say is one of the things that dissuades me from playing replenish in large and competitive tournaments is I don't want to play the mirror match.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
it might be one of the worst mirrors in Magic.
Most of the
it's kind of, it's at least kind of interesting, but
no, there's no so
dependent
back.
It's so draw dependent.
There's no coming back. Like that's the thing, right? Like
yes, that's actually all of Replenish's matches.
There's no
in case you yes, there's no coming back.
I mean, I think
you're dead or you're not dead. Like
Dave Kaplan would say the same thing. Like people are just hard casting these parallax waves against you, and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, well, you can't cast a dreadnought. I'm like, I agree. You go fade those things away. I know what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's 5-time walks. I mean, obviously it's not 5-time walks against Brain Freeze, but
one of my opponents in the Constellation tournament
sorry, quick aside.
Clever.
Quick aside. Three Brain Freeze in sideboard, or 3 in the 75 ?
In Dreadnought?
Yeah.
I'm playing 1+1.
Yeah, but what about 3 total?
I'm of a couple different minds about this. One of them is I wouldn't cut the one in the main deck at this point in my life. It's too good.
I like it.
It auto wins so many matchups, right? Like that.
It's a very low cost. It's a very low cost for the slot in exchange for determinism and like a pretty broad swath.
Like literally, save your stifles for their Decree of Justice. Can't lose the game is like pretty. Like it is insane. Like that, this card is just in your deck, and you can't really lose to Landstill anymore, right? Like versus like Landstill, like on the fundamentals, is very good against Dreadnought. Like they have disenchants, counter spells.
We should have given it to Etai in 2023.
And Swords to Plowshares, right? Like even me against Kaplan when we played, and I was Landstill, I won game 1, right? And then he got game 2. I would have got game 3, but we went to time. But he said to me on turn 2, he says, just concede for time now. And that's one of the reasons why I would never play Oath Ponza in a big tournament I cared about. Like the deck is too vulnerable to Sabo's Web. Dave just drew both of his Sabo's Webs in his opening hand, and I was on Landstill, and he's just like, you can't beat them both. Right? Like, and it was correct. I could not beat them both in the time allotted. I would have won game 3. But the thing is, I think that you're just always going to win game 1, and I'm not sure how they beat 2 Brain Freezes. Like that just seems like tell me how you're going to beat 2 Brain Freezes, Lance.
Well, so you need 3
attack me with 2 2s.
You need 3 because sometimes the other guy is going to have 2, right? So it's for the Dreadnought Mirror and for Stasis, unless the other guy brings 4.
So my thoughts are one is a miracle. That's right. I'm like very thin on 2, even though I personally play 1+1. The second one is so much worse than the first one, unless you get into Brain Freeze against Brain Freeze math, which is actually one of the matches I lost at LobsterCon. My opponent played awful and beat me in part by playing awful. But I was too fancy. I just had him beat in game 1, but I had him beat so bad. I'm like, and I'm also going to Brain Freeze you to death, even though I resolved my Dreadnought and you have no cards. So I signaled him that I had Brain Freeze, right? And I think that prompted him. I baited his Brain Freeze in game 3, and he had a second one. And I'm like, oh, this is the worst. But anyway, 4 I like if you're going to go to 4. I don't know, man.
So you like 1+1.
No,
you don't like 3.
I play 1+1. I don't
okay,
like
you don't
2.
like it. You prefer 1 or 4.
Yeah, well, 4 is like, that's like a man's number, right? You're just like, this is how many brain freeze we got, right? We're serious.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'm in.
3 is like, 3 is like pretty flaccid compared to 4. I don't like any number other than 1, despite the fact that I actually personally play 1+1. It's because they increasingly make stifle good. So like, that's the thing that I'm a little on. And then
it's kind of like better to have more answers to stifle than it is to have additional brain freeze. But that's not true, because an additional brain freeze is an answer to stifle.
Like, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot going on. I feel like I'm just like first level game theorying this, but everyone else is on level 0, so I'm okay. But once someone's at like level 2 or beyond, like my technology on this gets very thin.
That's
but
why you
right now
burn.
everyone's on level 0. Okay, so I don't care.
Well, I mean, I did want to kind of get into this like phenomena of like Enchantress, Replenish, and Dreadnought is just like all anybody's playing online right now.
But that's not the real paper tournaments, right? Like
that's correct. But I wanted to
Online is not the real pre-modern. Magic Online is what Magic Online is always.
Okay, before you hand wave it away, an important thing is to craft a reasonable theory as to why that is the case, right? Because the simple answer is that those are the best decks, and that's actually an answer we both agree with, right? So when we say those
have always been the best decks, like there's no.
So the question becomes, like, what's happening? Is it that in paper tournaments, like it kind of runs off a cliff, right? Or in paper tournaments, like if you have like a few replenishing Enchantress and Dreadnought players, it's not like really whatever. But as soon as you start adding more, like it has to like compound and like fall down this cliff.
Let me pause and ask you, because I used to know a lot about Magic Online before there was MTGA, and it was a primary tool that I used for testing for, preparing for Pro Tours, etc. at the time. Can people still pay their bills on Magic Online? Like, if you were just good at grinding 8-mans, you could literally like pay your bills playing Magic Online.
So South Americans and Eastern Europeans can. Okay. But not people who live where their national currency is relatively strong.
Okay, so 20 years ago, right, when I made Naya Lightsaber, which is 2017 years ago.
Also, just depends on the size of your bills, right? Like, I can't pay my bills, but I could probably pay someone's bills.
I mean, like when I made like the Gifts Ungiven, Life from the Loam deck.
Mike, is your thesis just that like people are paying their bills with Enchantress, Dreadnought, and Replenish?
Yeah, I think that they're just grinding tournaments and they're like getting a small amount of value and they're paying their bills. And that's actually what I think. So because that's what Magic Online has always been.
So that's fine, right? But then the question that begs is, if they're grinding these decks to pay their bills, is it because they're the best decks, or is it because there are better decks, but the amount of time it would take for me to brew the better deck and build it and figure out a way to do it, like a way to attack the metagame and get the added win rate of 2 or 3% is not worth the time that I could just be spending grinding the current best decks?
Well, there's a twofold answer to that. One of them is, let's say we're in Lanny's worldview of Magic Online and pre-modern, which is that these are just the 3 or so best decks that everyone's
which you agree, which we all agree.
Oh, yeah,
nobody disagrees that
they're very good decks, right?
Yeah.
So if that's just the universe that you're in, and you just want to like get to pay your bills this way, right? What you want to do is to get a slight edge and have whatever the minimum win expectation is to that you're positive on your hourly, like not to actually try.
It has to line up. It does have to line up with the pace of your games, but also Replenish, Dreadnought, Enchantress tend to win relatively quick, right? You can win a match in probably 10 minutes with or like not 10 minutes, but probably 20 minutes with all those decks until you run into the mirror, which is what's going to happen if the other guys are just grinding Replenish, Dreadnought, and Enchantress.
Well, it seems to me that they should just play my Dreadnought deck then, because my Dreadnought deck wins the mirror. You should play my Lobster Con version because with AKs, because that deck wins the mirror, wins against Replenish, wins against Enchantress game 1, and then you just go for it in game 3 after you.
I agree. That's beside the point. So the thing I wanted to say was like, in order for this to be balanced out, there has to be some sort of thing that's happening with the decks that aren't these 3 decks to keep them in check, right? Like, but you can have a balance.
Like, all the Lannies, all the Frans, I religiously watch every video Fran puts out, right? Are all people who are not trying to pay their bills. They're like,
I mean, like, okay, like great example.
So like,
well, I try to pay my bills with content, ko-fi.com/spikecolony.com.
Yeah,
if you want to pay my bills,
if you want to pay Lanny's bills, right? Like, buy me a steak once in a while.
Yeah, sometimes buy Mike a steak or fund money match losses.
Okay, you just pay me my own money? Oh my God, what kind of Donald Trump are you? Oh my God, I won 20 USD off of Lanny, and it was just my own money. Anyway, so Lanny's trying to pay his bills. You are getting good views. You're getting a few thousand views on all your videos. Anyway, but you guys are trying to pay. I'll put this in air quotes now. Pay your bills with content, not pay your bills by grinding meaningless freaking tournaments, right? But that's not how that. So I'm going to say this is what Magic Online has always been. And again, Magic Online was a primary testing tool that we used for big tournaments I cared about: national championships, world championships, Grand Prix, etc. But the decks that were winning on Magic Online looked nothing like the top decks that were performing at these tournaments. It's the same as it always was. Well, it's its own ecosystem. It's not what you do to win, a 200-person 2-day pre-modern tournament.
Well, I don't expect you to have an answer for this, but the reason why it's different is going to be hard to pin down, because I'll use an analogy for poker, right? The only thing that matters when you play poker is your edge, your like expected value, how much money you make, right?
Yeah. But so poker is measured in dollars.
100%, right?
Magic is measured in glory.
Well, that's a good point, right? So there's online poker players, and there's in-person poker players, and there's cash games, and there's tournaments, and there's different formats, whatever. But nobody in poker is just like, well, actually, that's not entirely true, because there is quote unquote an online metagame, but the reason is that it's a different format. But anyways, nobody in poker is saying that the online players are worse players than the live players, with the exception of they're like, oh, well, the online players are worse at live reads, right? Because online tells, like things that your opponent does that gives you a hint to what they have, are different than real life tells, right? Blinking, shuffling, their pulse quickening, talking, looking down at your chips, that kind of stuff. Online players don't practice that.
A friend of mine who's a prominent professional gambler and Pro Tour champion, whose name will remain nameless for the purpose of this conversation, once told me
they all have 3-letter first names.
This person does not.
Oh, okay.
This is a different person. But I was hanging out with him one night, and
sorry, quick aside: is the strongest Magic team of all time the 3-letter first name team?
I mean, probably. I could just think about it off the top of my head. 2 of the 3 are already. What do you get? You take Zvi as the 3rd one? That's such a downgrade. He's better than almost every other player that ever lived.
Okay,
but he's like by far the worst player on the team, right? So anyway, so I'm at this player's house. And he's like a little frustrated. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I have a girl avatar. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm playing on my girlfriend's account. And he was just like A/B testing this. And he's just like, when I have a girl avatar, people like bet harder against me.
Yes.
Like, I'm exactly the same. But if I have a girl avatar and I'm like, is that better or worse? He's like, I'm not sure. But if they aggro you more, like, I don't know all the nuances of playing professional poker. But this was, I don't know, weirdly enlightening to me.
In poker, women players tend to be perceived as weak, so they get like they get bet more aggressively into because players think that they're going to fold. So if you're a woman or a woman presenting player, you can call a lot more.
Well, so this guy was a guy. He was playing on his girlfriend's account for A/B testing purposes, and he just told me straight up, people just bet harder against him if he has a girl avatar.
Yeah,
that was the
that's what I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
So and what's also interesting is that if you're calibrated to an environment where you're used to how people treat you, right, which is just like, oh, people have this much aggression against me, it might be it might leave you feeling unbalanced or like uncalibrated if all of a sudden people start showing much more aggression. And I don't think that there's a great corollary for that with Magic Online and real Magic. But the point that I wanted to make, right, was just like the millionaire online poker players and the millionaire live poker players, there's mutual respect there, right? None of them are saying your tournaments mean nothing because they're all millionaires or not millionaires, right? Like they do squabble, and some of them say like, oh, I'm better. And there's people who are just superb at both, right? There's some great online players.
I know millionaire in-person players and millionaire online players, and both of them were exceptional Magic players before they were any kind of poker players. You know?
So my sort of overarching point is just that it's not like there's no value to be drawn from the Magic Online results, because quite simply, at the end of the day, a bunch of Magic is being played and these decks are winning, and these decks might be played at a higher frequency online, and so they may just like represent survivorship bias. And you do see that, right? Because there'll be a challenge result where it's just like 4 of 8 is Dreadnought. But then you look at people who finished 9th through 32, and it's also 15 more Dreadnought players, right? And you're just like, okay, well, if this was the people who entered the tournament, this is what's going to be the top 8. But then you kind of have to go a layer deeper, and you're just like, okay, well, why are half the people who are playing pre-modern on Magic Online playing Dreadnought? And you might be like, okay, well, there's something about the deck other than how good it is, right?
Wait, so these are not. I don't follow these performances as closely as you, obviously. Are you talking about like the challenge type tournaments, not the leagues, right?
Yeah, the Swiss challenges. So, and to catch everybody up. On Magic Online, you can play two forms on organized play. You can play league play, which is you play 5 matches of Magic, and they're roughly seeded where you're playing against the same people with the same number of wins, but you play it at your own pace, and there is less reward for finishing well. And then there are Swiss tournaments called challenges, and those are 32 or more people, or at least 33 people, 6 rounds of Swiss, cut to top 8. And those are the tournaments I'm talking about being dominated by Replenish, Enchantress, and Mono Blue Dreadnought.
So I would say, Lanny, I think you should attempt this, and it would probably make a great video. I think you should attempt blue-green Tradewind Survival in a challenge. This is the reason why I think that. If you think people are not going to play red deck in the challenge, or especially like if you get past like the first 2 rounds, you're not playing against Moneyball and red deck, I think you would just win the challenge. Like blue-green is insanely good against Dreadnought. Like it is close to unwinnable, right? Like Greg Fenton, remember that the 1K that I won, Greg Fenton went through a buzzsaw against the best Dreadnought players, including Mike Harris, including Dave Kaplan in the top 8. I lost to blue-green in the finals of the Constellation Tournament this year. The deck is insane against Dreadnought. I know that you have a heuristic that Replenish beats survival decks. It does not beat this survival deck. Counterspells go a long way against a deck of all forecasting cost cards. And I think you were just dominated Enchantress. Like, opposition against a deck that moves at sorcery speed is like pretty insane, right? Like, what relevant cards does Enchantress deck have? Like Parallax Wave? Like, all right, that costs 4. I could tap all your white mana, right? I could just counterspell that. And then just basically, I think you would just auto win the challenge. And I think it would teach you a lot. it would probably be your most successful video.
Okay, relax. My most successful video is anything involving Grow Talk, right? The numbers on the Grow Talk videos go insane. Even when I'm like yelling at people, I'm like, you should play Smokestack in your Oath Ponza deck, and that video did do well. Everybody just wants me to. Everyone just wants me to play Grow Talk.
Okay, here's the thing, Lanny. You were just like a weird blue-green guy. Okay, like you want to gush. You want to have a 2-drop in green, and you want to have blue cards supporting your 2-drop in green.
Oh, this is really back. My current top from the last like month is my blue-green threshold deck with Mental Note that got 4,600 views. I'm looking at the numbers right now. It does support your thesis. So
I'm telling you,
my broad thing about the stupid blue-green opposition deck is that it needs like 4 things to happen. Like it can't do anything to find opposition, right? It just accidentally has to draw and resolve it.
This is so a double standard. Like, yes, the deck is just a giant parlay. Many of the cards are like, oh, what's a Trade Wind Rider do by itself? Goddamn nothing. I agree.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Right. But there's a lot of little things that you can lace together with the blue-green opposition deck that are pretty good. Like just drawing a Mana War or just drawing a Gilded Drake.
I agree that the survival and green creature side of the deck is a very impressive deck. That kind of thing is always going to perform well against mid-range. It's going to perform well against Grotog, even though I beat that deck in LobsterCon. It's going to perform well against the whole fair side half. However, the cards that you're describing that you need to defeat decks like Replenish and Enchantress are not creatures. They can't be found by Survival of the Fittest. You have no cantrips. You don't even have a good mana base, right? So you're sitting there. How
mana base?
How many oppositions can you?
Your deck is straight up bad against red, right?
How many oppositions can you play in the deck, right? Like 2 or 3? 3 maximum? I can barely imagine playing 2.
Yeah, it's like so
2 or 3.
When I played against Greg, I was
talking
like,
about.
I can't even fathom how he could win this matchup. My entire deck costs 1 mana against his opposition deck, and all of my cards just blow.
Well, you're talking about Dreadnought. You're talking about Dreadnought. I'm talking about
no.
Contain 4 copies of Seal of Cleansing, right? Like so, Seal of Cleansing is really, really good against your opposition, and we just have that, right? And like survival can be completely ignored. And if you establish Opal Wave before opposition is established, none of this matters, right? So you're like, oh, well, then my strategy is I have to get Winter Orb first. And then you're like, oh, my strategy is actually I have to cast Mana Leak and then Winter Orb and then opposition. And oh, by the way, I do need creatures.
I was looking over to my right. It was game 3, Replenish against blue-green. And I'm like, come on, Replenish. I'm like, I knew I couldn't beat the blue-green deck. I'm like, I knew I was definitely going to beat the Replenish deck, right? The Replenish deck got its Wrath of God counterspelled, and that was that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it can never win. I just don't think that it's like a great, like the list of decks that I think are superb against Replenish are like all in crazy combo decks. You know, you yourself have encountered an Angry Hermit or 2 while playing against playing Replenish, or Stasis, or I guess comma mono blue Dreadnought that is actually mono blue Brain Freeze. Those are the decks that I think are good against Replenish. I don't think a deck that has 20 creatures is ever going to be Replenish. Well, except for HFEB, I guess. But that's like a crazy all-in combo deck.
I think you should try it. I think it will be more successful than
I will try it in a league. I'll try it in a league. But the other thing is that the only challenge that I can manage to play are on Thursdays, and that's only if I have a light work day. And if I want to make a run at paper locals, then I have to give up playing in challenges. So there's that as well.
Paper locals is better. That's where all the community lives.
That is indeed the case. But I think that the sort of Magic Online thing is an interesting debate. I do think that, like, I don't know, there's like
it's not a debate. I'm not saying that Magic Online people are bad people or something.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about like there's like other people who are kind of adding fuel to the fire, because like there's kind of like this sensibility that like and this actually happened right when it was like Americas versus Europe, of just like who has the more advanced metagame kind of thing. Although it I mean, per our conversation with Martin, some extent it feels like it's flattened out. Some extent there are a lot of open questions.
Martin's thought processes were extremely sophisticated.
Yeah, but there was also the times where he's just like, oh, I don't really know about, you know, how my deck performs against Replenish because I haven't really gotten a chance to play against it. Or you know, he's like, oh, I feel pretty good against Dreadnought. Whereas like Andy Levine just like could not imagine beating a Dreadnought deck with Martin's Terrageddon deck.
Well, he doesn't have. Well, you got to go one of two ways, right? If you don't have Meddling Mage and you don't have Core Haven, right? Like you just lose to their plan A.
That's you just lose to card draw, right? Like my side has always just been like the Terrageddon side. You know, this is not the cleanest example, but like the Brad versus Dave Kaplan thing. They're just like, you just lose those games where you like answer the first Dreadnought and then they like flash of Insight and then put a second Dreadnought on the battlefield. Or like you cast like 3 AKs.
It's like just talk about this a different way. Like when I was playtesting with D-Tau, right, in sideboarded games, just trade 1 for 1. Like you trade a counterspell for a Wildmonger or whatever, right? But like you just trade 1 for 1 3 or 4 times, cast 2 card drawing spells, and then lock them under back to basics. Like now it's over. Right. That's
a good plan for the back to basics version of the deck. But I actually just like the core concept, right? Of like, okay, flatten out this Terrageddon deck. What is it? Well, Mox Diamonds don't matter. Wastelands don't matter. Manlands, pretty solid if you need to put a clock on. Rishton Port, meaningful.
You bring your extra powder keg in against Mox Diamond decks.
Yeah, but like on the axis of like things that the literal card Phyrexian Dreadnought cares about versus things that it doesn't care about. Terrageddon has like 12 active cards, right? 4 Plowshares, maybe 6 disenchant effects, and then your mix of Meddling Mage or Pyroblast, right? And you kind of need
have
like
2 Dreadnoughts in my deck in these games.
That's an excellent point. And you're like, okay, so what's the likelihood I'm going to draw Dreadnought Enabler and a number of Vision Charms, Counterspells, Foils, and Misdirections equal to the amount of Pyroblasts, Naturalizers, and Swords of Plowshares you have, considering that my deck is all card draw and your deck is all Mox Diamond, Weather Wayfarer, Wastelands, and Treetop Villages.
Not for nothing. This is the same discussion I had with Taylor when he was on the red deck and he kept like 3 disruption cards but no first turn clock against me when I was on Dreadnought last week. I'm like, yeah, like you're describing a hand that can stop the first Dreadnought, but you don't have a clock. You have to kill me. If you don't kill me, I'm going to flashback Flash of Insight twice, and then now you're not going to kill me.
That's true, right? But you can't mold. That's true, but you can't mold that hand. So it just doesn't
no. I said I wouldn't have mulled it. I mean, but like he drew out of it, right? So like he drew like 3 dudes in a row, which was
great, so but what you are describing is the same reason why Dreadnought is good against Burn is the reason why I think Dreadnought is good against Terrageddon. Right?
It's good against Well, the thing is, if they have Meddling Mage, it changes things because like I don't want to have Daze in my deck in the abstract against Terrageddon. That is a very poor card against Terrageddon in any game. But you have to have Daze in your deck if they have Meddling Mage. You have no choice. Right? And you hope that you have to hope they don't cast on the first turn with them going first. And they're going to be going first because you killed them in the game.
I mean, I don't agree with that. Meddling Mage is just another Pyroblast, except for instead of you being able to answer it with Misdirection or whatever, you just happen to have to answer it with Essence Flare or Powder Keg.
Well, yeah, but I only have 2 Powder Kegs, right? Against 4 Meddling Mages.
You have 2 Powder Kegs as well as 4 foils, right?
I guess I'd have foils.
And then if you're on, if you're on the play or they don't have Mox, like you're still happy if they have Mox, right? It's like if you ask me if I would rather an opponent like start the game with like 4 cards in hand and a Meddling Mage in play versus start the game with like 7 cards in hand. Like a Sylvan Library is actually scarier, to be honest, because Sylvan Library is harder to answer. I can't Essence Flare or Powder Keg.
Sylvan Library.
That's true.
All my annuals are in the sideboarded games.
I take issue with that, but I guess if they
How
have
could you
more,
possibly take issue with that? They have 1,000 targets, and I want to get them all.
They don't actually have 1,000 targets. They just have Sylvan Library, Mox Diamond. I don't know if you're into annulling Mox Diamonds. I'll
annul Mox Diamond. I'll just annul anything, and Seal Cleansing.
That's the final question: is if they play Seal Cleansing or Aura of Silence versus Naturalize or Disenchant, right? Because if they happen, your calculus changes quite a bit. I mean, granted, you can just pitch the annul to Misdirection or Foil, so it's like less of a throw. But I generally am like not super into annul because you kind of have to get lucky in exactly the same way against Sylvan Library, except for you have no outs if it resolves, right? Against Meddling Mage, you can be like, oh, I can daze it, I can counter it, and if it resolves, I can powder keg it or essence flare it, but you have nothing against a resolved Sylvan Library.
I mean, how can you not play Aura of Silence? I mean, I took Martin's deck and I played Aura of Silence, right?
Like, yeah. No. I literally am saying that in the presence of more Aura of Silence, Annual gets a lot better. But like before the last couple of months, you would typically see a substantially larger number of disenchants and naturalizes. So like specifically naturalized because it's a base green deck, right? You can cast naturalized off Treetop Village. You would see substantially more naturalized disenchant type splits as opposed to Aura of Silence. It's only because we've moved into this metagame where Aura of Silence is obviously really excellent against both Replenish, Enchantress, and Dreadnought. And
so the 3 decks that you say are the only 3 decks that matter. You have a card that is insane against all 3.
But it was not always the case, right? It's just not always the case that, or it's like, I don't know, right. Go pull up like LobsterCon deck lists and tell me the average copies of Aura of Silence and Seal Cleansing in those decks, and like, I don't know what Andy.
Replenish. I don't know what Andy. Still very good against Replenish, but it's great against Enchantress and great against Dreadnought.
Yeah, I'm not arguing about if Aura of Silence is good. I think that you should play 4 in any deck that produces white in your sideboard.
All right, then I'm upgrading all of my sideboards. So I usually play only like 2. Because I have other sideboard cards, so like I guess Landy says to play 4, so I have to put more in.
I mean, you saw my Moxless Terragon deck. The sideboard is 4 Aura of Silence, 4 Meddling Mage, 4 Engineered Plague, and 3 Pyroblast. Like that's, I think, a good sideboard because you have a lot of your sideboards.
A lot of your sideboards that you've been playing in your videos, I'm like, these sideboards are maybe they're just inbred because there's like these are the only decks people play. I'm like, so like no flexibility in any of your sideboards. I mean, I don't mean that to be like a
no. I have two. No. It's I have a law of sideboarding, which is that if your deck has selection, then you should play a diverse sideboard, and if your deck is like Burn or Terravore decks, you should play very, very focused sideboards because. One of the big influences on whether or not you're going to keep your hand in game 2 or 3 in a matchup that you know that you are disadvantaged unless you draw your sideboard card is a presence of a sideboard card, right? So I'm like, what is the point of a sideboard card if you cannot mulligan to it? Like that's my idea.
That is a very sophisticated response to my criticism, and I agree with everything that you said. And you don't have Zurin Orb in your Oath Ponza sideboard. Zurin Orb is one of the best cards against Burn. Just so that you don't lose to Price of Progress. Right. It's just not there.
Right. But
that's one of the worst matchups.
My expected metagame is 1, I'll have more edge against burn decks that contain Mistress Factory, Pyrostatic Pillar, and not Ball Lightning. And as a result, I don't want to put Zurin Orb in my sideboard because it doesn't come in as a way to anchor my game plan against any other matchup, right? Burn is the only matchup that is hyper fixated on my life total in a linear way. Against Goblins, you might say like, oh, Zurin Orb is good. But the problem is if Goblins is winning, they're winning by 30 and not by 2, right? So
I'm all in on Pyroclasms and calls. I brought all your Pyroclasms. I brought all your calls in all 3 matches I played last night. And I brought between 2 and 4 Pyroclasms in every match.
I will say that's because fundamentally you would rather be playing Terrageddon than Oath Ponza, right? You're kind of like in that scene in Moneyball where I'm like Brad Pitt and I gave you all the players, but you just want to put them in different positions, right? I'm like, no, you have to start Stone Rain at first base. I know that Stone Rain has never covered first base and barely knows how to play the game, but if you don't put Stone Rain at first base, you're going to lose. And you're just like, I'm putting Call the Herd at first base. And I'm benching Stone Rain, and I'm putting Sphere of Resistance in the outfield, and I'm like, Sphere of Resistance is gonna be a third. Like,
it's tough for me to reconcile. Like, okay, I'm playing Moneyball in the 3rd round, right?
I think, like to be clear,
I just can't beat an uncontested Withered Wretch.
Your strategy against Moneyball, I have no qualms with. The only thing that I would have done different, and I think that you can make a case for either. The only thing that I would have done different is I would have just kept Stone Rains instead of Sphere of Resistance, because I think that in decks that don't like basically play cantrips, Sphere of Resistance is like a lot worse because they don't play multiple spells a turn, and Stone Rain is better because it's not symmetrical and you can like stop a Mishra's Factory, whereas Mishra's Factory doesn't care about Sphere of Resistance. That's my only thing.
Sphere of Resistance wasn't great. He just like tapped 6 for a Greatborn Muse in the game that he won, for example. I had 2 Sphere of Resistance in play. Maybe I should have had Naturalize, right? That card kills Mishra's Factory, kills Curse Scroll if he has it, kills Bottomless Pit if he has it. I didn't know what he had in his sideboard.
You had Naturalize, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would have Naturalize.
Yeah, so I think Naturalize is probably better than Sphere of Resistance because I wasn't going to win a mana control game.
I agree that I think Moneyball might be the specific matchup where you would board out all 12 mana hate pieces, or you boarded out a Smokestack as well. I haven't tested it to a certain extent, and I don't have a problem with how you played your players in that matchup. But I think that the comment that you made before was basically like, I like your sideboard cards, I bring them in all the time, and that's just because you don't like my main deck cards, and you would rather be a Terrageddon deck all 3 games instead of being an Oath Ponza deck with Stone Rains and Prison Elements in the first game, and then a Terrageddon deck in 2 and 3, which is totally fine. Don't get me wrong. But the design of the deck, or at least the thesis of the deck, and it might be wrong, and it might be not most accurate or most efficient thing to do, but the thesis of the deck, I was like, the problem is this deck, the Stone Rains are only good when the Stone Rains are good. And I wanted to make the Stone Rains better so that you didn't have to sideboard them out against Dreadnought, so that you didn't have to sideboard them out against Landstill, or I mean, you probably wouldn't stand, but against like a random
against Landstill.
Yeah, you keep them against Landstill, but against like random mid-range or grindy decks, right? Like one of the big examples was like maybe Black-White Control. Not that anybody plays that anymore, but that style of deck that was resistant to your Stone Rains, it was like, oh, I'm going to swap Call the Herd for Stone Rain. And it's like, well, a lot of those decks are pretty good against Call the Herd too. So it's not a strict upgrade. So why don't we construct the deck to make it so that Stone Rain is good in games 1, 2, and 3? And that's fundamentally how I have it built.
Here's how I would line them. I would leave all the Stone Rains in against the Rock. So even though the Rock sometimes has cards like Crows and Tusker, right? Or Yavimaya Elder, which are good at searching for lands, I would leave them in because I think that the Rock is limited enough in its ability to draw net extra cards that I could just bury them under the Smokestack, right? Like I think that's
absolutely
that's the thing I would do.
And that's an excellent example because that is also a deck that we were talking about Smokestack Advantage yesterday, and I was pointing out that a big part of Smokestack Advantage is that your opponent's deck sometimes contains cards like Duress and Cabal Therapy that do nothing under Smokestack because, of course, you just play all the cards in your hand by turn 6. Yeah. So,
but like
Rock is one of those decks.
Black-White Control is a radically different animal than this, right? First of all, you know, even Fran, who was one of the first early advocates of like the red-green Oath Ponza strategy, which is like, this is an unwinnable matchup. You only win by mana screwing people. You can't really mana screw them. They have Eternal Dragon. It's not just that. The Smokestack version in particular, like if somebody's just, I don't know, has like a decree for 2, I mean, you're just so far behind on a decree for 2. Like that's you're not wrong about really bad. Like
you're not wrong about that. Your Smokestack does have to be opportunistic insofar as, you know, you need to live in a world where you play Smokestack when they miss a land drop, right? If they hit 7 land drops in a row and you only Stone Rain and Wasteland, you know, 3 of 7, and then you play Smokestack and then they hit their 8th land drop, you'll lose that game, right? And you're right, you'll lose that game to Decree of Justice, and that's a good call out. I basically forgot about Decree of Justice. But let me add on. But it gives you a plausible path where there wasn't one before, right? So instead of always losing because Mana Screw is cut off, right? Oath of Druids is cut off, whatever. Instead of always losing, you will sometimes win because the Mana Screw side of the deck, the win condition where you win by Mana Screw, is still available. And that's the purpose of the deck, is that there is like, say, 30 or 40% of pre-modern decks that when they play against Oath Ponza, they are not worried about Mana Screw because they have a way to hit their land drops more reliably. And Smokestack, in conjunction with keeping your Stone Rains in post-board, make it possible for you to still be a Mana Screw deck, even if your opponent thinks that they're going to be able to fight you on that axis.
All right, Lanny, can we go even harder? I'm just trying to think how I would approach this matchup. Not that it matters. Nobody plays Black-White Control. But, like,
I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question in one word.
Worse. Like the more I think about it,
I will answer that question in one word, and it's a word that you're gonna love. Okay.
Yeah.
Abundance.
Abundance would be great. Sure. There's two things that I am thinking about this. One, the whole they open up with Gerard's verdict aspect of their deck is devastating, right? Heads up. We're so bad at card advantage, and that is such a dominating card if they cast it on turn 2. My God, if they draw 2 copies in their opening hand, I just can't even imagine how bad that would be.
Counterpoint. Horrible card after turns 5 or 6.
Yeah. Any discard card's not very good, right? And they have 8 of them in their deck. But the second thing about it is they also have Stone Rains, but their Stone Rain, not that you have interesting permanents, but they could blow up your land that has a.
I don't want to get too deep in this because I will say that black-white control is just not a concern of mine in the current pre-modern.
Let's go with Abundance. Also separately, I was thinking Stone Rain, actual Stone Rain in the sideboard.
Yeah, just go up to
Avalanche
10.
Rider. Yeah. Right, Avalanche Rider. Well, that's kind of a clock, let's go. I mean,
I'm down with actual Stone Rain. Avalanche Rider, less so because I do want to have Oath of Druids and Stone Rain against certain decks, and Avalanche Rider off Oath is a little bit less good.
Yeah, don't pay the echo. I don't know, man. You have optionality on this. I mean, would you pay 4 mana for a Stone Rain that shocked your opponent for 2?
No, because I'm not.
Neither would I.
Damage is irrelevant, right? They're either mana screwed or they're not. So to answer your question broadly, should you play Stone Rain? I'm I think you can play 1, right? I have 1 or 2 slots that I'm open to changing. I'm open to changing the Volcanic Spray, and I'm open to trimming the 4th Terravore. And the reason why I like trimming the 4th Terravore is just that if you draw two Terravores, but you're in the stage of the game where you haven't mana screwed them, they're not very good, and you don't want to draw 2.
And
then secondly, your first Terravore off the Oath is bigger, right? So you can trim a Terravore, trim a Volcanic Spray. If you want to play Stone Rains in those slots, I think that's good. If you want to play Abundance in those slots, I think that's also good. And I think Abundance goes crazy, obviously, in a number of matchups.
I think that I'm going to play your deck again. As much as I'm giving you a hard time about it, and I think that all these cards are embarrassing, it was pretty fun to play. Could we turn the third Smokestack into an Abundance / does it have to be the Volcanic Spray sucked? I lost every game that I cast it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the Volcanic Spray is actually kind of vestigial because it was there specifically because elves can trigger Oath one time, right? And Volcanic Spray is insane against elves. And I guess sometimes you'll get an Enchantress in game 1, but I agree that 1, flipping it over does basically nothing, and then 2, drawing it does basically nothing. So I'm fine with cutting it.
It's a mulligan when you draw it, but I literally lost every game that I cast it. So
just trim it for the abundance. I like 3 Smokestack. I don't think 2 Smokestack is bad. I like 3 Smokestack. The thing that you're asking though is fine because abundance is Smokestack in a sense, but it's kind of Smokestack more off. Smokestack is Smokestack more often. Abundance is Smokestack a lot more when you have the Sylvan than when you don't. Right? So when you don't have the Sylvan, abundance is not Smokestack.
No way in hell I would ever cut a Terravore, and I'll tell you why. In our metagame, not the online Magic Online metagame, Terrageddon is one of the best performing decks. It just won the UK Nationals in the hands of Martin Berlin. It just won our league championship.
You do want more Terravores than your opponents.
You pointed out to me that of the many decks I've played, because I just play a different deck every week, my best win rate by far is with Terrageddon. And I don't even like Terrageddon, right? The best players in our area, Andy Levine and SWB and David Tower, are all Terrageddon players.
Luis, I guess Luis plays Ponza more often.
Yeah, but they're all some kind of Terravore players, right? SWB is the most Terravore player in his
Yeah. Long story short, if other people have 4 Terravore, you have to have 4 Terravore. If other people have 0 Terravore, then you can have 3. I'm totally fine with that.
So anyway, But it was fun to play, and I would play it.
Yeah, trim the volcano.
Maybe not this season. I want to play different deck.
Yeah, you played. I mean, I'm glad you tried it, right? I'm glad you tried it. I'm glad you like won when you won. I'm sad that you lost when you lost, but I also like, I also was like rooting for Rich as well because, he's playing Burn.
I think that's Rich's first win against me in pre-modern. When he finally beat me in Pauper, we had an emergency.
We can pull
podcast.
Up the app. We can pull.
We literally had an emergency podcast episode when he beat me.
It's like right now. It's like alarm bells. Rich defeats Mike. You know what? Right. You know what the people really want is actually the I play Gat and you play Burn grudge match between us two.
Why? There's plenty of evidence as to who wins this one.
Not now. Not in recent times. So because not since I cut Moxes from the deck, right? Which Rich I cannot emphasize enough. You might think that Mox is good against Burn, but Mox is actually just bad against Burn, and that's because discarding a card is that bad.
You beat me at Brooklyn Strategist with all cards that are no longer in your deck. You played at first turn Kyrian. I went to burn it. You dazed it, which took it out of the burn range, and then killed me with it. None of these cards are in your deck anymore. I mean, Kyrian's still in your deck, obviously.
Yeah. So the counterpoint is that it's just much easier to kill you in game one if I just like put Psychotog on the battlefield. Just like put Psychotog.
So
like,
Rich has one win against me in pre-modern. It was last night.
Yeah. It's like when I have 3 or 4 Psychotogs in my deck, I win a lot more against Burn. And so like I think that if we played now, the game script would be like, I have a Psychotog, I win, or I don't have a Psychotog, I lose.
Okay, so let me unpack a number of things. Number one, I wasn't trying to rip on Rich when I said that. He's obviously a wonderful player. He's a league champion, etc. I'm just saying that it's just me and SWB, right? Like I never beat SWB. I have a good.
Yes,
good
you are Rich's SWB.
Yeah. So, but not anymore apparently because he
lots of Sherlock more. Yeah, I guess that's my fault.
So, I think Rich would have figured out to side in Price of Progress himself. I think that would have been in his range.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. No, I told him to keep Jackal Pup in. I was like, if you're thinking about boarding out Jackal Pup, just don't. Like, if you bolt your Jackal Pup, sucks for you.
I had turned to Oath.
You win.
I had turned to Oath all 3 games, and he won 2 of the games. So, despite the fact that he just played Jackal Pup into the Oath, it just was irrelevant. He got damage in with the Jackal Pups. I don't think I ever attacked with the Terravore, despite the fact that I turned to Oath in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, well, that's substantially that's one of the ways to win is to attack with Terravore.
So yeah, I got Oath in game 1. He burned his own guys, and then I just locked him with the Smokestack, and he conceded in game 1.
I wanted a chance to like go like I guess I clickbaited myself too close to the sun by saying Naturalize is a sideboard card, because first of all, Naturalize is a sideboard card, but like I wanted to clarify that you're allowed to play Naturalize in your main deck. Like this isn't like a Mox Diamond level hot take for me.
You can play whatever you want. I was looking at some of these league decks. People have blasts in their main deck now. Like, I'm gonna play colorful blasts.
Oh well, hopefully that is not a thing that persists. I do think that like it's hard because one example of Naturalized main deck that I really like is Pernicious Deed and Nantuko Vigilante. I think those are great naturalizes to have main deck. I think Vindicate is a great naturalized to have main deck. It's a good if you can play those.
You want to use the word great? Although Vindicate is, if you could cast Vindicate, I guess you're obligated to play Vindicate. Like that's the weird thing about that card.
Yes, 100%.
If you could cast it, it has to be in your deck. All right.
Oh, we're finally coming around. Okay, so
I don't like any of this though.
But if you are not a linear deck, if you're a deck like Landstill or Terrageddon, and you have to have answers in your range, then you kind of have to play Disenchants or whatever. And you don't have to. Like,
are there
I actually do
enchantments that auto beat Landstill?
Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Oh, Sabo's Web, I guess, is really pretty bad for them in game 1.
I mean, Sylvan Library may be an existential threat, but like it's probably done its damage.
Do you remember when I had the Sylvan Library and I paid 8 and everyone's like, you just gave his Cloud of Fairies 8 time walks.
Yeah, that's because he had a Cloud of Fairies. If he didn't, it would have been a different story.
8 times. And I'm like, I needed to get to the. They're like, you got 2 cards. You gave him 8 turns.
Yeah, it wasn't a good exchange. 4 life for a card is not a good exchange. Infinite. So actually, another way to think about this, right? Would you rather draw 2 cards or 8 turns of Portent?
Given the fact that I lost that game, in hindsight, I don't think I would have paid 8. How about that?
Okay, I think I will take 8 Portents. No, but you raised an interesting question, which is just that what are the existential artifacts and enchantments for the Landstill deck? And the answer is not many.
Nobody back to basics in the main deck, really.
Exactly. It's just not many. And ask the same
Sabo's
question
Web is pretty bad.
Well, it's Sabo's Web still isn't like a main deck frequency that's high enough. And then like the question is like
out of every 16 decks or something, right?
Yeah, and the other question is just like, okay, like why does it have to be 2 disenchants? Like if you're really kind of worried, like I guess why
isn't it Dismantling Blow?
Thanks to our friend maybe. Thanks to our friend Landy Ho, our other friend with a 3-letter first name. I learned about the Kelly criteria, I think is what it's called. Do you know about this? The gambling thing?
No.
So the Kelly criteria is in short the amount that you should stake on a wager that's like mathematically correct for you to maximize your odds. And I'm sort of like bastardizing it, but basically it says how much risk that you can take on. And so for instance, if you know that someone is like a very, 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 very basic version of this is if you know that someone is 60% to win, then you should bet 60% of your bankroll on it, right? And 40% of your bankroll on the field. And then this kind of like expands. Again, you should Google this. You shouldn't take my word for it, but I'll close the loop. And you'll hear things like full Kelly and half Kelly, and that's basically like how much risk that people were taking on based on how much edge that they had. And certain famous gambling Magic players, made their fortunes because of their tolerance for risk. And in Magic, I think that a reasonable corollary to this is putting a number of disenchants in your deck equal to the number of targets that you expect on average in your opponent's deck that you want to target, right? So if on average your opponent has 1 in 60 things that you want to disenchant, then you should play 1 disenchant. And then you would be playing disenchants at the Kelly criteria.
Okay.
I actually think that's fascinating and interesting.
I have nothing to contribute to this. This is too much math. Math is dead. Speaking of math being dead and lands being dead, SWB pointed out in another thread that if you have Zurn Orb in play, every Stone Rain that your opponent draws is half a card off of Sylvan.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. It is 1.5 cards. Well, it's not. I guess it's not 1.5 cards. It is net.
It is. It's their Stone Rain.
It's their Stone Rain. Yeah. I mean,
no, because their Stone Rain trades for your land straight up, right?
Well, they just don't.
It's net half a card.
Yeah. So you have to do it twice to pay the Zurn Orb first. But the more interesting thing, now I came back around. We're talking about what happens when Terrageddon plays against Terra Ponza. And it's like, well, one, you got to board out your Mox Diamonds. But that's kind of nice.
Disenchants get real good, right?
Yeah, they get good. We had this whole, like, it's actually really funny because I was just like, turn 1 Sylvan sucks. And people keep on pushing on turn 1 Sylvan. They're like, well, if you turn 1 Sylvan, you're going to look at 3 cards before they disenchant. And I was just like, wait, what if they just disenchant the Mox?
When
you have 3 cards, left in your hand. You have a land in play and a Sylvan library, and you looked at 3 cards. Like,
when D-Tab didn't win the championship at Eternal Weekend, it's like, what happened? And he lost that Tireless Tribe deck, and I'm like, maybe I should have more respect for the deck, but I don't. And he's just like, he just disenchanted my Sylvan. And I'm like, that's it. He's like, yeah, that's it, man. Tech doesn't do anything if they kill your Sylvan.
I mean, that's what happens in the Terragon and Mirror match as well.
Yeah.
But my point was just like,
lost to Brad.
Like, yeah, I mean, Brad has quiet speculation, so he has 7 Sylvans.
Yes, he got what he is. He just got Ray of Revelation.
Yeah, he got Ray of Revelation. Okay. So my point about turn 1 Sylvan is just like, would you rather have turn 1 Sylvan, so you start the game with 3 cards in hand, or would you rather have turn 2 Sylvan, and instead of portenting 1 extra time, you just have another card in your hand?
I don't know, but I have to go.
Like, turn 1 Sylvan just like kills me.
I want to leave it at this. I wanted to play Oath Spec because I think Oath of Druids is really powerful and really good.
You just want to play Intuition.
I think Stone Rains are embarrassingly bad. So I wanted to play Oath Spec. I got tricked into playing this deck. It was pretty fun.
You kind of only like, well, I guess it's complicated. You like playing the Rock. So like the problem is Oath Spec is closer to the Rock, and so there's kind of like 3 things that are happening in your world. There's 3 things you want to do, or there's 2 things you want to do. You either want to win or you want to play the Rock. And so the fail case is if you don't win and you're not playing the Rock. And so last night you didn't necessarily, you went 2-1, so you kind of won, but you weren't playing the Rock. So it wasn't a good night for you. You can go 0-3 while playing the Rock, you're happy, and you can win, you're happy. But you can't go 1-2 or 0-3 and be happy if you're not playing the Rock.
I just want to be in the casino. Okay? I want the dealer to serve me. Okay? I want to play a first turn Delver of Secrets. I want to reveal the top part of my library, and I want it to be a 3-2 attacking on the second turn. That is what I want in Magic the Gathering.
That's not the Rock. That's the opposite of what I'm saying.
I want. I want to play like a first. Do you have any idea how happy I am to keep a 1-land hand that has a Daze, a Phyrexian Dreadnought, and a Vision Charm in it? I'm like, I might draw a second land. Like, this is just up to the dealer. And do you know how often I draw the second land? Every time, because it's Dreadnought. And then I make my guy go away, and then they go to kill it, and then I Daze it, and then they die.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Dreadnought is the casino, like except for in this instance, you're the casino and you're taking everyone's money. Like Oath Ponza is kind of more like Baccarat, right? Where you're just kind of like,
dude, Oath Ponza
on average, like, you're on average.
Oath Ponza is like the bill collector knocking on your door.
Sure.
Well, you've unpaid medical bills. I'm like,
land tax is banned, by the way, so it's not quite.
I'm not interested. That's not fun, right? It's not fun for your opponent, right? Like, I'm just thinking, like, what are the most unfun Magic together? I think Winota, Joiner of whatever.
Oh, let's talk about pre-modern cards.
But pre-modern cards are largely fun.
Yeah,
but I'm telling you, like,
even Parallax Tide, especially Parallax Tide,
especially Parallax Tide.
Even Parallax Wave,
Replenish
even
got better.
Tax.
Replenish got better when they banned Tide, but
what about Yawgmoth's Bargain versus Winota? Which one do you think is worse?
Here's the thing about Yawgmoth's Bargain, and I had forgotten until I played Bah Humbug. Can you actually lose the game if Yawgmoth's Bargain enters the battlefield?
You can. You can lose the game if you're at 1.
There's not a lot of ways to lose the game.
Oh yeah,
like I've seen people cast a Vampiric Tutor with Yawgmoth's Bargain in play and been happy to do it.
I mean, yeah, I'm down because you can like vamp for Zurin Orb. I don't know. You can vamp for LED. Sounds pretty good.
You won the Bah Humbug with Yawgmoth's Bargain in your deck.
Yeah, I just figured it out, man. I had a Yawgmoth's Bargain in play. Like, I didn't play against red. Oh yeah. So what's the title for this episode?
Chris Cruz had every red hate card in play against me in our top 4 match.
Yeah,
I would have beaten you.
What's the title of this episode?
Mike plays Lanny's stupid Oath Ponza deck, bitches about it for an hour,
and then confesses to enjoying it. I'll see if it gives me enough characters.
Fine.
Until then, thank you for listening. Love Lanny, love Spike Colony.
I love Mike. Game over.